All right, here's one. I'll start with one then. I've got one for you. Here's a good one. This one's going to be a sort of a backhanded jab at Maui. So it's going to go like this. Look, if you know me, listen, you have to give me fair props. I will just call out Fallen, like when he has just had to pop off maps. I'll do it at the lowest, but I'm going to do the opposite now. I'm going to do what every normal person does. I'm just going to do it when everything supports me. So here's the take for you, Maui. Just like in CSGO, Twistzz will be second best to EliGE in CS2. Because I'll tell you what, mate, that all of us, look, I actually do think, for whatever reason, EliGE did have some period of time where his game just went off the floor. I also think in that team, though, that was essentially showing that as he lost his status as the guy who called all the shots, I think his roles went away. I think they slipped away. When people like Yekindar came in, I think he was pushed to where he wasn't in a position to be the best player. But the key thing is this. Even though it does look to me like I think Twistzz will probably get more chance to be an MVP if the team wins in Liquid, I think, look, I can't know that Col will be any good, but I tell you what, if EliGE has the ability to frag, this is the green light, mate. This is like when you go to the mid NBA team now and you're like some amazing player. Like, look, at a minimum, you're going to get all your shots. You can just score 30. You can be the scoring title winner, even if you can't win the NBA championship, mate. One of them's easier to do when you're a superstar. So I think EliGE is going to frag out now. And the key thing I'll even throw in there as well is, I made this point on counterpoints. So many pros have told me, I hate the spray. It's so inconsistent. Mate, EliGE was already a god with the spray, and he already looks fucking money in the bank in CS2. He looks like, and again, by the way, I don't think it's a coincidence that people like Monacy, Rops, EliGE immediately adapt to the new game. These are the biggest boffin nerds of all time. These are the guys who, have you noticed they themselves have put out about 20 bugs to Valve, like, because that's how they're deep there in the mechanics of it. So I think EliGE is going to he's already hit the ground running the first time. I think he's in position to do awesome. Whereas the thing with the Twistzz one is, I've got to see how it works out in the Liquid lineup. Based on what I've heard, it's going to happen. So I want to see how that works out on that lineup, because like I say, I saw it in this last tournament they just won now. Dude, I made the point to you on that debate, Maui. If you want to go on raw trophy case, it's not even a debate. But if you look at like for example, Twistzz just won a tournament, and I think I pointed this out on Twitter. I think he was like the 25th rated player in the tournament or something. Like, mate, if you have 3 people above you, did you win that trophy? You know what I mean? Like, essentially, to me, EliGE won the trophy and he came second more than Twistzz won the trophy, even though that'll hurt people's feelings. By the way, I know Twistzz. Obviously, you did win the trophy. You did your job. But our point is, who gets sort of like the lion's share of the title? So who wants to jump in on this?
Well, Twistzz versus EliGE at this point, I mean, going into CS2, I actually think that for the team that EliGE is on, it just fits him so well because he gets to be a star again. I think that's one of the main things for me. Whereas when Twistzz joins Liquid, or when he does, I mean, it's that you're still probably going to be designing that team around making sure your Kindar gets a good amount of resources. I mean, if Cadian joins the team, then he's going to get a lot of opening picks and a lot of opportunities for himself with the op. And then Twistzz is probably playing third fiddle, maybe even fourth behind NAF. So I would imagine that he's not going to get he's not definitely going to get a star treatment. Whereas EliGE, he's got the red carpet out for him right now. Complexity is designing plays to get EliGE activated, and they're actually being pretty innovative with their plays. I was watching Stamina, this like North American content creator, was making like a video on Anubis and how Complexity were so good at it at this event, and he was showing the way that they constructed plays to activate him, basically. And it's just like, okay, they're definitely doing everything they can to make sure that a star player gets a star treatment. And so, yeah, I mean, as an individual performer, EliGE probably will benefit from that, because Twistzz is going to be the person that's throwing flashes for Yekindar, or just making sure that he's covering the one blind spot in Cadian's op pick angle. So all of that probably does mean that EliGE is going to have higher statistical output. It's just that Twistzz team right now, if it is this Liquid team, I would say they're going to do better than Complexity in my eyes. And so then the debate continues to rage, just that are we valuing an individual performance on a team that's not going as far in tournaments, or are we valuing the third bet? Like, let's say Twistzz, he might get an MVP here and there, but he's definitely going to be fighting for that. Whereas EliGE is almost the guaranteed person to be getting MVPs if Complexity is going to be winning tournaments, and if they're going to keep playing this style.
By the way, being as me and Maui do a basketball podcast on the LFN Sports Show, I'll just say, I'll set the table if people know that show, it'll be a crossover. Basically, it would be the argument of like Klay Thompson versus like Dame Lillard or something like that, Like, that's like how we're setting up in this scenario. Like, which is better? Is it better to, let's say, be a role player or like an off star and win the title? Or is it better to be the man but maybe never get a ring? So, Kassan, where do you come in on this? Because I actually don't know in CSGO who you had as the best. Who was your take in general on the EliGE versus Twistzz argument? How do you see it?
Always EliGE for me, but I'm talking about the coaching perspective, right? I'm not talking about the spectator, viewer, whatever you wanna call it. I was just talking because like in the team, I feel like this you can disregard the aim and the frags. I think the EliGE has way more impact in the structuring the game in his team and voicing his ideas and everything that's going on the server. Probably not that much out of the server because he's the person that he is, right? But in the server, he's very vocal. And if you watch the interview that he gave us after one of the playoff games in Sydney, that you can definitely see that he's very high up there when it comes to organizing game plans, making the calls, and on top of that, usually those people don't really output that many frags or any kind of crazy numbers, and you can see EliGE doing all of these things and then fragging as well. The negative side is the fact that Twistzz won more. He won a major. He won a
2 Grand Slams.
2 Grand Slams. So looking by that, and you can say, okay, EliGE is better. Twistzz is better, but I don't think he is. And the problem is for EliGE right now. I watched Twistzz, by the way, in Sydney. He didn't play that well in playoffs whatsoever. I don't think he was very underperforming considering that what we expect from the guy. But overall, I think the problem for EliGE can be the fact that maybe Complexity doesn't go deep on any events,
Sure.
And then how do you measure success? Normally, if Complexity is playing group stage matches and then you have Liquid, and Twistzz playing playoffs and deep runs in the playoffs where he plays more high impact matches and more matches overall. So it's going to be very difficult to determine. But from my perspective, so far in the past and in the beginning of CSGO, EliGE is influencing the team more than Twistzz is, right? If you remove Twistzz from FaZe is not going to drop off all that much. But if you remove EliGE from Complexity is a done deal. They are not even a group stage team. They're dead last on every event. So
Yes.
there is like a pretty like a path that you need to follow and direction you need to think about, like when you're approaching like what you want to do and who you want to pick as a better player. So far it has been EliGE, I believe so. Even when they were together in Liquid, I feel EliGE had more impact to the game. Now he switched, he took a risk. Like if he goes down to Twistzz and he is not relevant anymore, it's his own fault. He decided to join Complexity. They have a good start, it's all fine, but how long is it going to last?
Yes.
Like what happens when they have 3 events in a row where they don't make the playoffs? Do we question EliGE and do we raise Twistzz, who made semifinals of next Katowice or Cologne or major or whatever, right? Or finals? What do we say then? Is it EliGE or is it Twistzz? So they're in a different scenarios right now. I feel like EliGE made a mistake by joining Complexity because he could have gotten way better offers in this particular moment, right? Not that the Complexity is a worse org or a bad org by any means, but he would get more opportunities. Probably right now he is stuck in some sort of 3-year deal or whatever, right? Sure. And he thinks he made a good move, but he had much better moves than that one, especially in this moment and state of Counter-Strike. You see what's happening in the teams.
By the way, when they did that thing for HL, I think it was HLTV, did like the top 5 players based on like the sort of EVP type thing, and it was like EliGE and then 3 of the FaZe players and then like Floppy or something. So it was like 2 Complexity, 3 FaZe. I did a joke where, maybe it was even JT as the IGL. I did a joke where I put like, this could even function as a real lineup, right? And EliGE liked it. Now, what made me laugh about that is, I know he just means I mentioned he was in a team and it would be really good. He was just like in any media. But the joke is, if you're evil, you just read that as like, yeah, I actually wish you could just bring 3 of those FaZe players into call. Yeah. Instead of all the basically everyone except the IGL. Like the joke is like deep down, who knows? Maybe even knows that he was just playing with it. Like I've got plausible deniability here. I was just liking any media with me in it.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or be a pleb and don't.